This podcast is a production of Unfiltered Studios. If you would like to know more about joining Unfiltered Studios, please visit our website at unfpod.com for more information.
So this is the first time Campbell and Liam haven't been in the same room.
Doing a podcast, yeah.
Real? Fine.
Yeah, we've finally gone digital, haven't we, Dave?
We're sick of the sight of each other.
Oh my word. So again, you guys have been hustling. It's been a minute since we last did a last chat, but I have Dave and Liam from the Watch It If You Can podcast. If you want to watch it on YouTube, you can do that as well. And you guys have been hustling. You've been quick to go on to some more comedic forays, as well as revisit popular blockbuster movies and shows and see why they might still click. And again, you always have very brisk, quick chats, and I never know what's going to happen. But the camaraderie, that's what I like about it.
Thank you very much. We have been friends for a long, long time, so we must like each other, mustn't we, Liam?
Yeah, well, I think I put up with you, Dave, if I'm honest. But, there you go.
Do you watch a movie a day, or do you just do a movie a week?
It's on TV at the minute for me, I'll be honest.
If it's on?
I'm definitely more into me TV box sets at the moment.
The deep cuts we make. So, but with this giant chat, we were just going to do a quick chat, just kind of on what we'd seen of the Michael Connelly TV shows, as well as just briefly contrast anything we've seen of the books. Again, I have not seen all of the shows, and I have not read all the books, but I have seen a good chunk of all of them. Dave and Liam were going to share their thoughts too, and from what they had seen, and because I had talked to other diehard fans who had done both, and they were awesome, but they couldn't do a layout of what, where do you even start, when there's like 40 plus books. So I just was like, yeah, just talk about what you've seen, what you haven't seen, and let's go from there. And but
well,
go ahead.
I'll go first, because Liam has seen and read a lot more than me. The Bosch TV series, I haven't seen all of it. I am a fan of Tatus Welber. I think he's great. I'll tell you why my issue with the Bosch TV series.
Oh, good.
He is so good in it that I think he makes everyone else look like, I don't want to say mediocre, but he's like, for me, Liam, right, he's like putting Mo Salah in like a Sunday League team. He just stands out too much, and I think that all the supporting cast are just kind of there to prop how good he is. I don't know if you felt the same, but I just think he stands out way too. He's just too good in it compared to everyone around him, I think.
I got a bit of a Jack Bauer from 24 kind of feel, and then there was also, which is kind of fun because there's a lot of 24 people on that show, but I was just having more fun of it. Like when I saw it was by some of the same writers as like Homicide and Law and Order, and there was a lot of guys from The Wire, including, the Chief, and I was like, I guess I dug it because of the political backdrop and the lieutenant having to get rid of HR crises, and the fact that Bosch later just quits and goes, you can't fire me because I quit, and now he's a private eye. I'm like, see, that's fun. He was an imperfect cop.
Is this the spin-off series that came out recently then?
That's how the original show ends, and then
sorry.
Truth be told, the spinoff should have just been seasons 8 for 10. But they just wanted to. Go ahead.
I agree with you there, Cam. I felt like it was a bit of a the Bosch legacy thing, because I think they wanted to make his daughter Maddie, which a bit more of a star.
Right.
When I don't think I don't think it needed to. I think you're right. I think it should have just been Bosch continued. But is it? I think do you? It's Bosch the season was 7 seasons. It was on Amazon over
Mhm.
here. I don't know if it's the same over there, but the sort of Amazon. We mentioned this before. Amazon released a channel called Freeview, which is a sort of, I don't know if it's the same in American, but
Yeah,
it's
it
like a
was
channel,
just
and it was basically Amazon stuff with adverts. And
right.
Bosch Legacy seems to be their sort of the jewel in the crown. What not? But I'm with you. I think they should have just carried on as Bosch, whether he was,
It
on
wasn't
TV side.
necessary. It was just kind of one of those they wanted to show exclusively. You can have it on here, but it was just like, well, you can get freebie anywhere because it is. I mean,
Yeah,
it says in the title it's free. So they closed it down and just said, let's just do Prime and just have ads. But see, I don't mind the ads so far because they're kind of like Tubi. They're like less than a minute and they just are often funny instead of repeating stuff that drives you crazy.
So I read that when the pilot was on Amazon, they let the viewers vote to decide whether there should be more episodes or not.
Yeah. I,
It's crazy.
it's cable TV, so I mean, it's always been kind of a 10 to 13 kind of thing. And I mean, I mean, of the books I had read by Connelly, I had read his book, Bloodwork, and I could see why it became a Clint Eastwood movie that really had nothing to do with the book, to where it was just like, yeah, they didn't even bother adapting it. It's just Clint Eastwood being a dirty, hairy kind of cop. It's not.
well, I'm going to be a bit of a nerd on here because
Is that what
I've
they call
read
us?
I've read just about I've read all the Harry Bosch books, bar the most recent one, and I've read all the Mickey Haller ones, but the most recent one. So I'm a big Michael Connelly book fan. So I come from this perspective that I know you were never 100% took in by the TV series, Dave. But I think because I honestly absolutely adored the books, I think I get more out of it because what he's done really well, Michael, is he sort of blended various novels into seasons on Bosch, and that's why I like the way he sort of intertwined different
I think
stories
that's
into
why
books.
most people were cool with it because it's like he's still in the writer's room,
Yes, he's still there.
and
He's
Homicide was a very similar show to the thing. I mean, come on,
yeah,
that was created by David Simon, who used to be a cop
yeah.
turned nonfiction author. So, I mean, yeah, he takes it is fun. Yeah, that there have been a lot of helpful Reddits showing, what's and the Wicca has also been helpful. Is like this season is based off this book. Um, and again, I've only been casual. What's funny is I would read some of those books because his style is very similar to John Grisham. And I know some
Mm.
people are gonna dunk on me. How dare you compare? I'm like, I'm just saying it's similar. I didn't say they're the same person. I just can I like both? I like both. Anyway, it's just it was one of those where it's just like okay, but like typical Amazon shows, I have to watch like 3 episodes a night. Otherwise, I am going to lose track of what's going on. It's a ticking time bomb. You're going to lose track of. Oh yeah, that's right. There was someone, an inside man revealed in this episode or this.
It
Well,
might have been my problem, Liam. I think I was a bit boshed out because I'd never seen it. I think you probably suggested it, and I think I watched like 4 seasons, like literally back to back,
yeah,
and it was a lot. It was a lot of Bosch.
there's a
Oh
lot of
jeez.
Bosch.
It was maybe now having a break and revisiting it and finishing him off and watching the Legacy series might get me back into it. But like I say, it's not that I didn't enjoy it; I did like it.
But
And
you were
I
just
think
joking
you're
how
right.
he's the super cop and everyone else is kind of
No, no,
binging it.
it's more his acting, to be honest. I just thought he just stands out as an actor in it. Not so much like that. I mean, the character is obviously the main character, but just think his acting's real, like is so good in it that
He's a big
it
fan tight as well of the books as well, and he's took the persona of Bosch on really well, even to the point of you like his little tiny things like Bosch is a left-hander, and when you're writing them little tiny notepads, it's really hard to write. So you do, because Dave, you're a left-hander, same as
I
me,
am,
aren't
yeah.
you write upside down. So when you see the little
Covered in
bits where
ink.
you see, yeah, if you see when Titus Welliver is playing Mush, he does the left-handed hold, the way you hold the little tiny things like that. He goes to town on the character, so you can tell he's a big fan. I think he's the executive producer as well, isn't he, Titus Welliver? So I think he has quite a big say in how it's made as well.
But
So
at
he
least
does
it's
his,
not toxic. It's not like, hey, like you got to do this, otherwise it doesn't work. I'm sure they are all they're all deadlocked into doing mystery stuff. So they're all about also, hey, how about we reveal it this way versus that way? It's so tough to have the discussion on adapting books. It's like what works as a book doesn't work as a movie or show, and vice versa. This might work for a show, but it wouldn't work as a movie. You
well,
have to be so specific. You have to toss certain pages out or
and
imply
I
it
think
different.
for Michael Connelly, that must be quite hard because he's wrote the
Yeah.
books, and you'd imagine him like the other writers go, "Oh, shut up, Michael! You don't know what you're talking about." He's like, "I wrote the book." Do you know what I mean? He must. I
You're out
wonder
of
if
here. No, I'm just kidding.
I wonder if he gets precious over any bits that like the TV writers will go, "No, that's got to go," because. But then there are some other restrictions because in the novel world, Bosch and Halle are not giving much away. The
Yeah,
half
they're half
brothers.
brothers. And
But in the TV season, because now Lincoln Lawyer has took off on Netflix, the, they'll never cross over because of the two studios. So what you
Netflix and
found
Amazon,
is,
yeah.
yeah, so Netflix have tend to lean on the character Cisco, who's his private detective in the novels. He's took on Bosch's role in those stories where Harry Bosch pops up. And likewise in Bosch Legacy, they've introduced a character called Mo Basson, I think his name is, in the Legacy ones, who's like the private detective to cover, and Cisco to cover the roles that Harry Bosch
For
would
those
have
who don't
done.
know, Cisco is his one uh private eye friend who used to be a
Yeah.
biker, and it's
Oh, he's brilliant.
fun
But but
casting.
but in the Mickey Haller books, he brings in Bosch to do investigations as well. But obviously they can't cross over into the two
So
seasons.
there's no
Right.
kind of like Sony Marvel agreement where
It's very
Mickey
yeah
Mickey
It
can
is very
turn up
much.
in Bosch and stuff.
yeah.
So
So they've had to adapt characters, and
hmm,
also in Bosch Legacy, Money Chandler, who's actually was in quite a lot of the Bosch scene, she's killed off in one book. Do you know what I mean?
What?
Yeah, she was only, so she was literally, she wasn't a very nice character, and she was killed off after one book.
They
But
changed that up.
yeah, so obviously she's one of the main stars in Bosch, and is actually one of like the co-stars of Bosch Legacy, and I think she's brilliant in Money
Oh
Chandler.
yeah,
The character.
it's freaking Mimi Rogers. I mean, she's
Yeah,
so charming one minute, and then, I mean, can you? I think that's just it. They were freaking us out. They're like, oh, did they kill her? It's like, no, she escaped death, but just barely.
so
Now
one
she's
of one
having
of the
one on
things you
disguise.
usually find with like TV adaptations, obviously combine characters, don't they? Because they don't have the
yeah.
like you can't fit them all. Is there any of that going on in Bosch? Is there any kind of
Not
characters that are
really.
being replaced like by one maybe character?
The only ones are like the Boss and Haller don't cross over. That's the only really thing they've had
Right.
problems with. Apart from that, because the Michael Connelly books, the characters are so ready anyway. Do you know what I mean? But and what I really love about his writing is he writes very simplistic. It's all about pacing. If you read his books,
I mean, the
like
book
when
started back in '92, and
yeah,
the first one I
92.
read was 2002, City of Bones, but I didn't even realize, oh, that's one of those Bosch books. I had
Yeah,
read The Black Box, which was a 2012 bestseller, just because, again, Connolly's name is in giant golden letters, so I'm like, okay, this must be enticing, and I will read them, and I would have fun, but it's not that I think he's forgettable or anything, it's just I didn't put two and two together. Oh, whoa, hey, this is part of the Closer, this is part of the Echo Park, this is part of the Burning Room, this is part of Nine Dragons. I had no idea that any of this was related. I didn't. It's just
So is
fun,
so
casual
for
reading.
you that have read the books and seen the season stuff, which is the best season as in terms of faithful to the book then?
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
hard because like I said, they tend to use 2-3 books per
They
season.
really do. It's like they
And
mixed in
but
like a
yeah,
subplot of like a third book, and then there's all these other like
I,
things. So I
I tell you
I
what,
Okay,
wish
well,
it
I'll
was.
tell you what. I'll reword the question then. What's the from the series then? Which is like your favorite bit they've adapted from the book? If favorite book they've adapted then.
Mm, 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 mm. God, I really want to give a very legit, simple
I
answer.
I would I would go. I really liked in the Lincoln Lawyer that the Netflix the recent season
Okay, that's
was
the best answer. Yeah.
is one of my it's pretty much based on the God to Guilt book which he's done, which is one of my favorite Mickey Haller ones. They did that really well
And they
on
change
the
them up
net.
enough instead
Yeah,
of adapting every single page to where if you read the book you won't want to watch the show, like it's not so terribly like that. I did see some people who didn't care for the show, and they were in the minority, but it was just one of those just like they were like, "Oh, it's so different. I love the McConaughey movie better." I'm like, "See, the McConaughey movie was fine, but it wasn't. It was kind of a easygoing popcorn movie. You could kind of predict every twist."
yeah. It
Eh,
was Matthew McConaughey was the you take Matthew McConaughey out and it was a TV movie.
It really
If that
was. It
makes
was
sense
just
because
like,
he was really good in it.
I
But
mean, it
yeah,
was after he did A Time to Kill, so there's the John Grisham connection. But I was like,
yes,
okay, so he's playing a lawyer again, but still, like, nothing bad, nothing great. Like, the only thing I find interesting is that that director has gone on to do other crime thrillers and reused a lot of the same actors, like Leguizamo and Bryan Cranston. But I was just like, yeah, see, again, like anybody could have done that. And see, this show, like, it was in development hell. Like, it was supposed to be picked up by CBS. CBS
mm,
decided, oh, we casually won't make time to air that. It's like, you ordered this to series. What? and, then, and so then David E. Kelly, that's right, the former lead writer of LA Law, who's, did that whole
Well,
Boston saga with Boston Legal, Ellie McBell, The Practice. He came in and then hired some other writers, got some other awesome indie directors to helm a bunch of episodes. So it's like interesting. So that the only connection I knew at the time was like, oh hey, Tony Almeida from 24 is being a DA guy on this. Oh hey, there's this other actor. Oh hey, Neve Campbell from Scream. What the hell? It's like they had a very stacked cast, but
I literally watched Lincoln Lawyer seasons 2 and 3 very recently. So that's when Dave said to us that we were going to do this podcast. Like it's just worked out really well because I've just finished the last season of Bosch Legacy. I've just watched seasons 2 and 3.
sweet.
And I've literally just ordered the new Mickey Haller book and the new Bosch book as well. So I'm like, it just timed really well for me, guys. I don't know about you, like, do you know what I
So
mean?
to answer Dave's question, I know it's long-winded, but like, yeah, the League of Lawyers are a little more easy because there's only been like
Mm.
uh
I,
7 of them, and some the characters crossed over into some other books, but those are the ones that are kind of more drawn from it versus the Bosch books, which will again we'll take free per season.
Yeah, it's a lot more complicated. It's if you turned the question around, Dave, and said, I
Hmm.
can pick out a couple of the books, which I think the best. If I'm going to give someone some recommendation to read the books, is the first one, Black Echo, was obviously a really good entry into the season, but I think it's the fourth one, The Last Coyote, and this is where you get. And they've sort of incorporated a lot of this storyline into the Bosch season as
You
well.
should
You might
literally just
recommend.
go to your local bookstore and just look for all these books and just hang out at
Yeah.
the Barnes and Noble and like yeah, just skim through it. I didn't
Well,
buy any of them, but I've been here for 5 hours reading all these books.
and
it is,
take your own coffee with you.
yeah,
Make
but
your
the
own
last,
coffee. There you go.
if you remember, if you cast your mind back to the season, the last Coyote was the bit in the book. Bosch, I think he'd been suspended as a police officer because he'd done something wrong, and
The wrong
his
side of
whole life,
goodbye. Yeah.
yeah, his whole
16.
life was unraveling a little bit. And what you found out was right back to his childhood. He was basically his mother was a prostitute who I think
So that
was
was the basis for season 2, basically. Go
yeah.
after the
Mm, yeah.
congressman.
And so his mum was murdered and he was sent into the care system. Then he left the care system, went to Vietnam at a young age. So you sort of get the whole sort of backstory, but in the backdrop of that, and I think you mentioned it before, Cam, it sort of references real life. So
It's
his
real life at times. I think the reason other people got into it is it almost feels like a modern day kind of Chinatown or LA Confidential at times.
yes,
Just that
definitely.
is like that there's always someone poisoning the well, and instead of just the billionth, like, a bunch of crooked cops, there's always some other angle to it. So, and kudos to people who do the Foley. Like, there's times where it's like, I would just turn the speakers up, and then it's so funny. Without fail, I would be watching and people would be like, did I hear an actual gunshot or an actual, car drive by? Like, no, it's just
Just,
very in the
just
moment.
does the fact that like the Bosch series then is it's obviously you just because you mentioned it there, Liam, it's updated, isn't it? Is it like the Iraq War, think you? Or
Yeah, so in the
just
novels, because age-wise, he's a Vietnam, now he's a Vietnam sort of
Because
war
yeah, it was
hero.
in the 90s, so they did update it
Yeah,
to
yeah. So the
it's
updates,
either Iraq or Gulf, one of the two.
yeah,
He's like,
yeah, yeah. But I think that's the beauty of the Bosch character, because not only wasn't just like a Vietnam hero, he was what they called the tunnel bit, the tunnel diggers that went underground because the Vietnam army dug tunnels. He was the one that basically on their own used to go and dig tunnels and hunt out the Vietnam army and have basically one-on-one fights under these tunnels that were mile long. So you're in that real claustrophobic sort of, you've got to be certain personalities to
is
live
a
underground.
military turned
Yeah,
cop. So I think that's why I was able to spin believe is like, especially when he had those one batch of like SEAL turned thieves trying to ambush him and his dog at his house. Is like, yeah, he's ready. He doesn't need any
yeah,
high gear stuff. He needs
yeah.
stealth, and he knows how to make use of that.
But yeah. So I would, if we go back to question, David, Last Coyote. If anyone out there is going to go, that's probably my
You go
favorite
with the
book.
fourth book from 95. Okay. I
Yeah,
will check that particular book out because I really dug City of Bones and Black Box, but yeah, I definitely need to just read the original book that started it all and some of these other ones like Angel's Flight and A Darkness More Than Night. It's just,
Darkness More Nice is a really good as well. That's another character, Terry McCaleb. He's in that one. It's the two characters come together in that one as well.
and
So
this is where it gets even more bizarre, Dave. Like
yeah,
there's a newspaper reporter who they kind of blended into a bunch of characters,
hmm.
Jack McAvoy,
so
and
he had his own couple of books.
right,
Terry McCaleb
did
is
three
another.
books.
Terry
Uh,
McCaleb is another one who then crossed paths with Bosch in A Darkness More Than. There's a whole universe. That's what I love about the books, and they're all the characters are related. Because I think who's the writer you were just saying about
uh,
Cam, the other
Jack
Jack
McAvoy.
McAvoy?
Yeah.
His girlfriend in that left him, and then because she was an FBI agent, then went out with Harry Bosch in later Harry Bosch novels as well. It's very incestual, Dave. I'm telling you.
They get around, man.
Yeah.
And
They,
did they lean into the jazz thing then, which I was reading
Oh,
about?
big time.
Is that more in the books then?
Yeah, yeah.
eh,
Michael Connelly is a big jazz fan. Is really big. And
I
I
don't
tell you
mind
what,
jazz, but it's one of those I don't go out of my way to see it. But when I'm at like a random lounge, it's like, yeah, I could be here all night. Like I just pleasant, calming
well,
music. It's
I think
meditation music before that was a thing.
that's why it came. Michael Connelly says, yeah, I've seen an interview, is he always listens to non-vocal jazz music when he's writing because it's just quite relaxing. So it's sort of non-intrusive. It's
I mean, that's
sounding.
kind of we're all built that way. Yeah, kind of like
Yeah.
how someone might watch a sitcom at the gym or
Yes.
play hard rock or electronic while they're working out. And even people who don't generally want to do that, like you just need something to make the hour go by faster. That's so Dave, you're in good luck. Like there's the FBI agent is Rachel Willing, and you've already seen her in some later seasons of Bosch. She's the one Fed who kind of helps him out, taking on those white supremacist terrorists who try to bomb the giant courtroom.
And this is not to confuse with his wife and mother of Maddie, who was Eleanor, but she was also an
Right.
FBI agent as well. So
Oh,
it's
okay. So they changed that out where she was like a
yeah,
former
yeah.
government consultant coming back.
But that's in the books as well. She was his wife was an FBI and she got kicked out and then she became a professional poker player, as you do.
Mhm. And that's where the seat of the
Yeah.
the seeds
Yes.
of evil were planted.
Yes.
So apparently for this new Bosch Legacy, which will come out soon, they decided to introduce a detective that does cold cases, who's Hawaiian, and she'll be played by Maggie Q, but she is an actual character in these Jack McAvoy and Bosch books called Renee Ballard, and she's a cold case detective, and she's based off a real life LAPD gal named Mitzi Roberts, and Roberts apparently is a consultant on the Bosch show, so a lot of fans are stoked for that. I think that's good casting. Maggie has come a long way, from being just the beautiful gal and henchwoman to now being able to anchor a lot of TV shows. So I'm like, okay. And apparently they're thinking they might do a Bosch spinoff based on that character, and I'm here for it, man.
Well, the last since Harry Bosch has sort of retired and then he went in the novels.
I mean,
The
he could
last
still
five,
appear. Like, he'd just show up
yeah,
like one episode and be like, I need someone to accompany me or be a witness to this crime.
but they've sort of like Connelly's sort of withdrawn him a little bit in the last Bosch books because it's Rennie Ballard and Harry Bosch books, the last 4 or 5
Mm,
Bosch. He's sort because he's retired sort of now, or a private detective in some as well. So but
gotcha.
he's introduced Rennie Ballard, and I think it was quite a challenge for him if you read the first few books and writing from a woman's perspective. I think I'd seen
It's
him
never
talking about
easy. You want to
it
validate
because
everybody, and you don't want them
yeah,
to be just, hey, buddy. It's just you always
yeah.
want to have them sound like how they would talk versus, this is clearly written by a guy, writing a woman. It's hard. It's never easy. I mean, that's why Gillian Anderson, for instance, left the X-Files. She's like, hey, fun mysteries and everything, but you guys cannot write women to save your lives.
Yeah,
20
yeah,
years later. And I we all want to be validated. We also, I mean, you get complaints about this when you see both romantic novels and movies where you'll hear someone be like, that was fun, but that was clearly written by a woman or a guy. Just the guy was an idiot in the woman's perspective, and the woman was easily charmed in the guy's perspective. So you're just like, I just can't win. I just want to have the two have charisma, but I want it to be more than
Well,
just these two.
that's probably why, and we've spoke about it on our podcast a couple of times. Like Carrie Fisher was such a good person
Yes.
to bring in, wasn't she? As that, like,
She rewrote so many leads,
yeah.
often
yeah.
Renee Russo and a bunch of other popular actresses. I mean, even her own.
So the character then you mentioned, like the his mum was a prostitute. What about his dad then? Is his dad like
So
prominent in the books or at all?
his dad wasn't in the books, but his dad, who's Mickey Haller's dad as well, was a famous defense lawyer who represented the
And Mickey,
mafia.
kudos to
Yeah.
him. His mother was a
Yes.
B movie actress, and I like
Yeah.
how in the show they kind of make her be a soap opera star.
Yeah.
Who's
But
bored.
there's a really funny reference because in one of the episodes of Bosch, there's a flashback where he goes back and meets his dad because he found out because obviously Harry had an affair. Harry's dad and mum had an affair, and he came out of that. So he
Hence why
never
they
really.
divorced, kind of. Yeah.
But he went back to say hello to his dad years, and the young kid who answered the door was obviously a young Mickey Haller. And
Right.
they had a little reference where he opened it, and as the dad said, "Come on, get out the way now," the little kid goes, "All right, all right, all right," which is a reference to Matthew
McConaughey.
McConaughey
There you go.
playing him
See,
later on in the films.
that's funny. See,
And there's also a ref in one of the Harry Bosch films, him and his daughter Maddie are talking about the Michael McConaughey movie, The Lincoln Lawyer,
it's
which is
very
like,
meta. Yeah.
yeah,
See,
yeah, it's quite
so
So
funny.
is there a big age gap between the two then?
Yeah, so I think Bosch is about 10, 15 years
yeah,
older.
Mickey was born in
Right.
65, so that would have been as Nam was ending. So yeah, Bosch already kind of
Yeah.
had a but like you're saying, like the both, even though the shows are a separate canon, like the author has fun, and he's not like Stephen King where he's like, I hate every adaptation of my work, but I'll take your money. He's always just
Yeah, Connelly seems to get quite a lot of enjoyment out
he's
of
very
people.
nice to fans from what I've seen. I've never seen him
Yeah.
explode or be a dick to anyone at a signing.
Mm.
he's happy to build his own universe, but he also wants to. I feel like, unlike James Patterson, who kind of just has a lot of fun and puts his name on stuff, he actually wants to come up with new universes and new stuff here and there. And I mean, he he seems to have other book clubs like other authors, but and promote other work instead of just his own. It's just, yeah.
So, Liam, one of the questions we always have, well, not always, but when we do our kind of quick
Guys,
fire
I love
rounds,
you. I love your style. It's all good. You're the guest.
well, Cam, this is a question for you, really. So, what we kind of do a quick fire round. One of the questions we usually do is around recasting. If Bosch and the Lincoln Lawyer were British TV shows, what British actors would you have cast in the two lead roles?
Oh, well, that's strange because I always thought Titus Welliver was British because I remember him. I know he was in Deadwood.
You think of the Sons of Anarchy as well because he had the
Yeah,
Irish
because he played
accent.
I always thought he was Northern Irish, so I was shocked when he did Bosch. Like, oh my God, he's American. So
Ben Affleck loves him, doesn't he? Because he's been in, is it four films with Ben that he's directed?
Yeah, Welliver has been in a lot of Affleck stuff. Must be
he's
in New
one
York.
of those actors that I feel like a lot of actors respect. Titus Welliver, if that makes sense. He's an actor's actor, if that makes sense.
He has that face where he could either be a creep or he could be a very caring guy or he could be an anti-hero. You don't know until you frame him a certain way.
Well, Man in Black and Lost, that was like such a good role, wasn't it? And again, you never really
that kind of
that could have been either way, couldn't it? Yeah.
So I think
who's your British Bosch?
So Bosch is very meticulous and sort of determined and driven, whereas Mickey Haller is a lot more flamboyant and likes to push the rules. So
you want to have Nicholas Windhurst from Only Fools and Horses go against type and be a serious role, or is that bollocks?
Hey, do you know what? He's great in there, New Frasier.
He is. He's the best thing in New Frasier, if I'm honest.
He is really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I love him.
So is he your Mickey then?
Sure, why not?
I like that. What about you, Liam? Are we going with a joint answer?
I'm gonna go for. It's got to be like Bosch is a lot more like.
Idris Elba can be J. Edgar, the partner. See what I did there? Luther just invaded the Bond conversation.
Who would I have? Because I don't know.
The main guy. Would Kieran Hines be good?
Yeah.
Caesar from Rome, and you've seen him in Munich, and
he's in Kin as well. I don't know if you've seen that, which is the series with Charlie Cox, which is really good.
I've heard, the Kin TV show.
Yeah, is Jason Statham too rough and ready?
I think he should be one of the bad guys of the season, like one of the ex Special Forces guys. Him and Aidan Gillen. There you go.
Oh, Aidan Gillen to play Mickey Haller is a great shout.
Oh, there you go.
That
because Charlie Cox would be too obvious. He's already been a lawyer.
Do you know who I would get to play Bosch? Think of Game of Thrones. Who was the one who was like, he was given the title like Lord of Onions or something like that. What's his name? Davos.
Davos.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so Liam Cunningham. Yeah.
Liam Cunningham, that's the one. That's who I would get to play Bosch.
Yeah, no, he's amazing. He's in all kinds of war movies and horror films, and anytime he shows up, I know he can either be a crazy gunman or an actual like dad of a troubled community. I mean, anyone who's seen The Guard or Dog Soldiers, he's awesome. Yeah. I love it. That's it. That's better than anything I could come up with.
Basically, Game of Thrones, we're both doing Aidan Gillen and Liam Cunningham. They're my Bosch and Haller.
And I can't believe you didn't say Hugh Grant, Liam, because we just put Hugh Grant in everything.
I was trying to think, would either of them could even buy?
No, I don't think
know.
so.
If you've seen Centurion or Harry Brown, The Escapist, even freaking Let Us Pray, I think Liam Cunningham's a perfect one. Like, I mean, I don't know if
Yeah,
it's just the bald thing or what, but like he is
yeah,
good
I
at.
think him and Tate as well have got a look about each other as well, haven't they? Yeah, but yeah, very good.
I'd have gone Mark Strong, and I'd have gone
Mark
Gary Oldman.
Strong. Okay, sweet.
Yeah, and Gary Oldman, because I just put Gary Oldman in everything as well.
Might as well.
Would Gary Oldman be Bosch or Haller?
No, it's Haller.
Really, I would go
A young Gary Oldman. I mean, not like.
See, I would flip them.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe Gary
Interesting.
Oldman could be the dad.
No, I
Like
think
Mickey.
Oldman would
Okay.
make a better Bosch because he's
Okay. Sure.
yeah. But I'm still going with Liam Cunningham. That's
I like that. Oh, well done both.
I just took the Mark Strong one you made because I'm sure you've seen stuff like Low Winter Sun and Deep State. The guy, he is kind of a similar Titus Welliver actor where you never know if he's going to be a good guy or a bad guy just because he has that brooding face.
And he's also one of them
Definitely.
actors. I feel like a lot of actors really like him as well. He's an actor other actors would go, I'd want to work with.
Yeah,
Mark
he's not here to be a dick to anybody. He actually wants to be a character and go with the flow. I
Well,
see he just came out with a new action thriller called Deadshot with Felicity Jones. I don't know if it's good or not, but it looks awesome.
I'm gonna say one thing
Go on.
about Bosch and both Haller with the books, and is one of the reasons I absolutely love it. And he does try to bring them into the TV shows as well as he loves his food. Michael Connelly. So what I love about he loves to like in both the TV seasons and the books is he love going to really good real restaurants to have like famous sandwiches, favorite meals, food carts and that. And I love that little bit of thing that sort of real elements worked into it. And also as well, whenever you read any of the books, Dave, if you get around to reading, whenever they do a car journey, he plot the car journey for you. I don't know why he does it, Michael Connelly. He's almost obsessed. So he's like, so we've got to go down from this road to that road to that road, and it's them little tiny things, and it sort of makes that LA sort of come alive in the books. So it's just something to
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's really good the way he does it.
That's a good point. Like, what does every member of mankind love the most? It's stuffing their face. But I'm gonna go to a great place to like exotic food, and it's often where he's doing his detective work half the time with the other Vice Squad guys he's still cool with, or just even just meeting up with someone, whether it's for coffee or whatnot. It's like, yeah, we're actually engaged because we're having a snack while we put our brains together.
Would they use like real like proper restaurants that have like been going in LA for like
the
80
biggest one was the
years?
Danny Trejo one. I love that scene where his
they're eating donuts, isn't it?
His daughter's talking about Danny Trejo, and the partner hasn't seen any Danny Trejo movies. He's like, I've never seen From Dusk Till Dawn or Heat. What are those? I don't watch many movies, apparently. I know the guy, I know the name, I know the restaurant, the taco shop. I've never seen those famous movies. It's I think the fandom's going to continue to be pretty cool. Sometimes I'll encounter in some of those Facebook groups some fans who are clearly very old but very rude, stuck-up people. But for the most part, they've done pretty good at making a non-toxic community and not. It's interesting how there's all kinds of age gaps. Like, I think the spinoff was helped by the fact that it was focusing more on a cold case that connected to a lot of other main things. I'm like, yeah, see, you kind of upped the stakes because you had all these different connections instead of just another billionth mission for everyone to go on. But it is interesting. Like, there's young adults, there's older adults, there's retired people who have all gotten into this, and it's.
Well, that's the thing, because it'll get passed on, won't it? Those kind of series of books. So it is interesting to see like what like kind of the next generation make of those books. I mean, not just kind of Bosch and Lincoln Lawyer, but some of our like my favorite movies and stuff like my kids have started watching now, and some they think is like now dated, so they can't get quite into it, and some they really love
They
it.
can't give it a chance. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's always going to be that kind of cycle, isn't there, of people who are going to find these things.
Mm-hmm. Instead of just, is it on Kindle? I won't read it then. I'm like, I always do physical. I'm sorry.
Like I was obsessed with reading books, and then I did get myself a Kindle, and I don't mind it. I can read the book on Kindle.
Sometimes it's cheaper. I'll go for a cheaper option sometimes, but I have a lot of physical stuff where I'm like, it's just, I don't know.
But the good thing about it is if you're going away on holiday, you can download 3 or 4 books onto your Kindle and
you can take them with you anywhere.
Yeah, but it's I know you're saying that a real book is nice, but it's not the end of the world, a Kindle. I don't mind mine. It's quite nice to read because you can change the focus and the font and the size and that as well. That's what I quite like about it.
I'll link the link tree, but for those who haven't seen it, what is your favorite episode that you've done?
Oh, that's a really good question. Do you know what, Liam? I'm just going to say the first one because it's rough and ready. You can tell we've never done it before, but it's one of my favorite films, which is Gross Point Blank.
Yes.
And I think
always go
to the start for me. But go on, what's yours?
I always think Stand By Me is the one that stands out for us.
Yeah, that is a real. We really enjoyed that one, Cam. I think because we're being friends and it's all about friendship, isn't it? Like the film and the book, and
absolutely,
I like that one.
It's really only horror in that there was some grisly death, but it's more of a coming of age movie.
Definitely, yeah. So that's the ones that we picked for our podcast.
Absolutely. I love your camaraderie, and it's always fun doing an episode with you guys. And everyone be safe out there.
No, thanks so much for asking us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been fun catching up with you, Cam. See you soon.
Cheers. Thank you.
We'll return after these messages.
If you like small town mystery, crazy news, and wild history, then the Florida Men on Florida Man podcast is for you. Each week, Josh Mills and Wayne McCarty bring you the absolute best Florida has to offer. So if you're looking for a show that's safe for the family, but funny enough to help you escape everyday life, then listen to the Florida Men on Florida Man podcast. That's Florida Men, plural, on Florida Man podcast.
Hey, it's Brent Pope, the host of Breakfast with Brent Pope. You've seen me on some of your favorite TV shows saying things like, "Give it up, Jimmy. You got to sink this putt to win." On Breakfast with Brent Pope, I sit down with guests from the entertainment world, and we do it all over breakfast. Or should I say Brentfast? Every week on Brentfast, you get inside Hollywood info and tips, great breakfast recs and foodie debates. Most of all, you get the most delightful 30 minutes of your week. So dig in. It's Brentfast time. Listen at Brentfast.com, Apple Podcasts, or wherever fine podcasts are found.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening. It's a jacked up